You are so silly. So I was gonna do this like explanation video, but she joined me and she's being really crazy. You had sugar in your cereal for breakfast, didn't you? Yeah?
No.
Yeah, you did.
No.
Yeah, you did.
No.
Yeah, you did.
No.
Give me a kiss.
Mother,
Ugga mugga.
hug.
Hug.
Hug me.
Okay. Okay, so, hi. It's been a while. Okay, so I figured I've been gone for a really long time, and I'm gonna start trying to do videos again. But I thought I would explain where I've been and what's been going on, because I've actually had people trying to check on me, which is really sweet. And asking me to do videos again. So here is the story of why I disappeared. And I'm going to try to keep it as short and as sweet as possible. And if you have questions, ask below. I will be happy to answer them. Yeah, so there's that. Disclaimer out of the way. Okay, so we're going to go back. I was doing videos on a pretty regular basis, or at least trying to. And I did a video where I was actually outside with the kids. And I put my video camera down and thought, we're just going to go inside for a minute. I think somebody had like fallen and scraped their knee or something minor, just where we needed to come inside, patch them up, you know, give it an ice block, you know, glass of juice, move on with our life. Anyway, we came inside and we got distracted because we pretty much all have ADD. It happens. And the camera got left outside and it started storming and it killed my camera, which was not awesome. So that happened, and I thought, well, I'm just gonna put money back and buy a new one and it'll happen, and it wasn't happening. So it didn't happen. I was getting really irritated. Well, about that time I got really into using my Erin Condren life planner. And if you have not heard about Erin Condren life planners, oh my goodness, all you have to do is search on YouTube, Erin Condren Life Planners, ECLP, Plan With Me. You'll find out about Erin Condren really, really quick. Anyway, I have an Erin Condren Life Planner. I've tried others, but I just keep going back to that one because it works best for how my brain functions. And I got really into it, and I started making my own stickers, and then I had people ask me for stickers, and so I opened my own Etsy shop, and so I started doing that. And that was going okay until I started doing fall sets last year. And I was doing it thinking it would help pay for my son's medical bills, because my son was having some issues. We were trying to get him to counselors and different doctors to try to figure out just what exactly was going on with him, because he didn't seem to follow any one like diagnosis, and it was really challenging. And right now we're to the point where we know he has ADHD, but the and is still a question mark. We're still trying to figure out what's going on the and part. So that was helping pay for medical bills, because we were having a really difficult time where our insurance company would say, yes, it is okay for you to go to this doctor, to seek this treatment, to do this therapy, and then we would go and we would come home, and the insurance company and the clinic, doctor, whatever, would call and say, this treatment after review is not approved. And so we would have much higher bills, and it was, I mean, one doctor, at one point, we were driving over an hour to get to him. We were getting very little bits of information at a time, which was, I mean, I know it's not a quick process, but I mean, it was like he would have Austin do like this with both of his hands and look at him do that and then go, okay, well, here's my thoughts on that. Come back again in a week. And it was just, it was painfully slow. And the amount of tests, blood work, and hair and saliva, and I mean all these tests, and it was getting to where it was going to be easily over $1,000 a month just to try to, with one doctor. And it wasn't working for us anymore. And so we were scrambling to try to figure out what to do because we needed to help him. We needed to help our family. And so I started doing my Etsy shop to help cover the cost of some of the bills that we were getting because we didn't even know we were going to have them until after he saw the doctor. Because we would be told, oh, it's going to be like $20, and then we would go, and then it was $400 plus for whatever tests they did that day. Um, so it was getting really stressful, and we went through that, and we got to the fall, and all of a sudden, there was like this big explosion on my Etsy shop, and it got huge, and I think I got um, like $300 or $400 worth of orders within like a 24 to 48 hour period. It was a lot. It was so much. And it was a financial blessing, but as one parent who is trying to homeschool four children, two of whom were going through medical issues, I was starting to feel really, really bad, and I couldn't pinpoint what was going on with me. Um, and trying to keep up with the house and trying to keep up with all of our activities and make that amount of money's worth of stickers and get them shipped out to everybody was insane. And I had people who were messaging me and they were mad that they weren't getting things like within a day or two, and it was just me. It was me with one laptop and one machine doing all of this work, and I was literally sleeping maybe 2, 3 if it was a really good night, 3 hours, typically about 2 hours of sleep a night, trying to get everything done. And it just got really overwhelming, and I pretty much just lost it for a while. And I told my husband, I can't keep up at this pace. And so he said, shut down the shop, shut down everything. You're done. You have to have a mental break. You're going to lose your mind. So I did. And we got through the holidays, and over the holidays, I just really started feeling even worse. And during that time, I went to the doctor and I said, look, here are all of my symptoms. I don't know what's going on. And he said, oh, I think a lot of it is just hormonal. And I think a lot of it is hormonal. I think a lot of it is um, depression, anxiety, ADD. And I'm going to put you on this medication and it's going to help you feel a lot better. And so I tried taking it and I went back after a few weeks and I said, I really don't think this is working. I actually feel worse, not better. And so he just kept upping my dose, upping my dose, upping my dose. And when that still didn't work and I was maxed out on dosage, um, instead of like I was begging every time I went in, please, let's just try something else, he had me on that plus something called Seroquel, which if you've ever been on Seroquel, you know it pretty much makes you a walking zombie. I was on the lowest dose, and then when I took one, I pretty much couldn't function for two days after. I just felt like I was in this very kind of underwater, slow motion, hazy world. And pretty much everything fell down around me. I wasn't being able to keep up with the housework like I needed to. I wasn't able to keep up with the kids' schoolwork like I was able to. I wasn't able to be a wife like I needed to be. I wasn't able to go to church like I wanted to, or help my friends up at church like I wanted to, or just be there for my friends as a friend. I pretty much just kind of fell into a black hole. And, my days pretty much consisted of I would get out of bed, I would feel horrible. I would go, I would lay on the couch, I would feel horrible. I would do the bare minimum, and I was miserable. My kids were miserable. My husband was miserable. My friends were probably miserable. Everybody was miserable. And finally, one day I kind of snapped out of it enough to say, I'm not taking this anymore. This is my body, and he may be a doctor, but he doesn't know how I'm feeling right now, and he's obviously missed the mark. So I'm just not going to take this medicine anymore. And I quit. And I felt wonderful when it all got out of my system. It took a very long time to get out of my system. It's one of the ones that takes, not the Seroquel, but the other one, is famous for taking up to a year to completely clear out of your system. And for a short while, I felt great. I felt wonderful. The house got whipped back into shape, and everything was starting to do better. And my grandma got really sick, and I couldn't function with that because I lost my grandpa 3 years ago, and my grandma is like a second mom to me, and I couldn't handle the idea of losing her. We had been through 2 rounds of breast cancer with her, and the idea of losing her Um, I couldn't. And I remember on New Year's Eve bawling my eyes out, and I was alone in the room, and I just was crying and crying and crying. And the next morning, my husband woke up and he rolled over and he hugged me and he had a big smile and he said, "Happy New Year." And I said, "This is not a Happy New Year. This is the year my grandma's going to die. And I know it and I can't deal with this." And I know everybody probably thinks this about their grandmother, but she, honest to God, was like one of the world's most amazing people. And I wasn't ready to see her suffer. I don't want to get too emotional. Um, I did not want to see her suffer. And I knew with her diagnosis and everything that was happening, it could get really bad really fast. And unfortunately, it did. She was diagnosed with multiple myeloma. She went into kidney failure. She had multiple perforations in her bowel. She pretty much walked through hell on earth for a while. And that was really hard. And she was in Georgia and I was here in Texas, and it was really difficult for me to not be able to be there for her. And I went through a really, 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 really bad depression. And finally, I told my husband, "I can't take this anymore. I have to see her. And if you won't help me get out there, somehow, I will put myself and the kids in the car and I will drive, halfway across the country myself. I don't care." And unfortunately, that very afternoon, I got a phone call that they had found the bowel perforations and they were going into surgery, and the doctor did not think she would come out of it. And I put the kids in the car. My husband could not come with me because of work. Um, but I put myself and all four of my kids in the car, and we drove from the Dallas area all the way to Rome, Georgia by ourselves. And it took 2 full days to do it. And it was not an easy drive by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it was not easy. um, but we did it, and I felt almost empowered by it that I could do that, because everybody around me in my life was like, "How are you going to do this? That's going to be too hard. I don't know if you're going to be able to really do this. Are you sure you know what you're doing?" And I was like, watch me do this. I'm going to go see my Grammy. And that's exactly what I did. I got in the car and I drove. Um, so we made it, and I got to see her, and I got to hug her and tell her I love her. And we got to stay about a week, and which the whole time she was in the hospital. So we were there a week, but ultimately only got to see her for like a handful of hours, and she was not herself, obviously. And so loaded up the kids, came home, and was home a week. And then I got the phone call that she was going into hospice. That pretty much the hospital said they had done everything they could do, and there was nothing left anybody could do. And she was tired of being poked and prodded on, and everybody just kind of called it quits. And so um, I was trying to plan on getting back out there, and I got a phone call from my family that was there with her. Thankfully, she did have people with her. My cousin and my aunt were with her pretty much around the clock. And she had started screaming. She was in so much pain. And I just remember curling up into a ball on the floor and just screaming and crying and telling my husband, "I can't handle this. I can handle her death as hard as it's going to be, but I cannot handle her being in pain. That is too much for me to bear. She does not deserve that." And so I loaded up the car. That time the kids stayed home, and I loaded up the car and I drove to Georgia by myself. And it took me just barely over a day. I did stop at night to sleep because everybody pretty much told me I had to and not to drive through the night. But I left late in the afternoon on one day, and I got there about lunchtime the following day. So if that gives you any indication, I was not playing. I hurried up and I got there, and I was with her when she passed, and I stayed for the funeral, and then I came back home and had to immediately start seeing doctors, because during all of that madness, I really started tanking with my health and my energy levels, which is part of why everybody was terrified of me traveling by myself. Pretty much anytime I got my iron levels checked, I was not just like a little anemic. I mean, like I had half the iron in my body I was supposed to have. I was having a whole lot of health issues, and I picked a different doctor that time, went to a different doctor. who happened to be not even a doctor, it was a nurse practitioner. And I went to go see her, picked her, a girl, a woman. And I went in and I said, okay, look, here's all my symptoms. And she said, yeah, you need a hysterectomy. And you need to go see an OBGYN. You need a hysterectomy. I'm not going to sit here and give you medicine. You need surgery. And I said, okay, I'll see what I can do about that. So I had that on my heart at the same time as everything that was going on with my Grammy. Hey, baby. And so as soon as I got home and things kind of, the dust settled a bit, I went to my OB/GYN and she ran biopsies and ultrasounds and all kinds of tests. And she confirmed that I did need a hysterectomy, and it was going to be an abdominal hysterectomy. They could not do it laparoscopically. This was going to be a big deal. Everything was getting pulled but my ovaries, and to get ready. So that's what I am. Yep, you are 4 because you're a big girl. What's your name?
Abby.
Abby. What does mommy call you?
Nanny.
Ninny. So the kids are attacking me again. I have 2 kids and a dog in my bed with me now. So that's what I did, and I went in early April, and I had a hysterectomy where they took everything, gutted me like a fish, and took everything but the ovaries. And so they did that, and that has been not quite 2 months ago. I went through my recovery, and it had its ups and downs. So now I think this is my 3rd week post-recovery that I'm starting. And we're doing okay. It's a little wild. It's a little woolly-bully. You know, things happen. We're back to trying to get the house in order and trying to get the yard under control and get back on track with school and figure out what's going on. But we're going to get there. And to keep this from being too long, I think I'll cover homeschool and all of that in another video, and maybe the whole hysterectomy story in and of itself in a different video. That way things don't get too long. But yeah, so that's where I've been. It's been a little crazy around here. Just a bit. So that's where I've been. I appreciate all of the messages and the care and the concern. For anybody who's wondering about the Etsy shop, I'm not opening it anytime soon at this point, if ever, to be really honest. I am to a point where I have got to focus on being healthy.
Hello.
Unfortunately, a lot of the problems I had and the medications that they had me on made me gain a massive amount of weight. So I need to lose a bare minimum of 20 pounds. I would like to lose 30. I would be ecstatic if I lost 40. But I think 40 might be a little bit much. That would get me back to like pre-3 girls worth of having babies weight. So that may, realistically, I'm looking for 30. So, I love you. So right now it's really focusing on getting my health back, getting my family back, getting my homeschool back. So that's my focus right now. And that's where we're going to keep it. So if you've been wondering where I'm at, that's where I've been. So, yep. I've missed y'all, but we should be back now and having videos. It'll be mostly family and homeschool stuff. So, and I have also started knitting, because you can do that when you feel like crap and you're on the couch. Uh-oh, Barbie fight. Barbie fight. Hey, hey, hey. Yours is right here. Look, yours is right here. Look. Look. Ta-da. So anywho, I have a knitting channel. It's called the Knitty Muggins. I will link it below if I can. But you can see my knitting stuff there. Uh-oh. We have a naked Barbie. I'm going to go get a Barbie dressed. Y'all have a great day, and I will be on here more so you'll be able to see me again soon. Bye, guys.